Welcome back to another video. In this video, we are going to see about the manufacturing process of beer. Already we saw about the introduction and major ingredients of beer. They are malt, yeast and hops in the previous video. Beer manufacturing is bit different from other spirits. It is manufactured by brewing method. Let's see the flow chart of beer process. It starts from malting the grains to filtering and cellaring. We'll see one by one in brief. This picture shows the beer making process in detail. Starts from soaking the grain till storing. In the first step of beer making is malting. What is malting? Malting is nothing but soak the grains in water and allow it to germinate. Why we have to malt the grains? Because in this process the grains which brings to break down the structure of barley and release the desired sugar and enzymes. After malting process it is done, the grains are allowed to dry. This process is called cleaning. In this process, malted grains are carefully dried at 80 degrees Celsius to stop germination. Next step is roasting. It is the optional process and it is not for all the beers. Some beer manufacturers produce dark beers. For that, they roast the malted barley to get the desired color. Next process is milling, which means crushing the dried malted grain to make it powder form. This powder form of malted barley is called grist. Next step is mash conversion. In this process, the grist is mixed with hot water to convert the starch in the grains into soluble sugar. This mixture is called oat. In the next process, the oat is transferred to a vessel called kettle. In this vessel, oat is allowed to boil in a controlled temperature and then the flavoring agent hops is added to it. It is then cooled to 16 degrees Celsius. This process will take around 10 to 12 hours to complete. The next process is fermentation. As we know, the fermentation process is adding of yeast in the mixture and the yeast convert the sugar into alcohol and carbon dioxide. In the beer manufacturing process, there are two types of fermentation will happen. Each type uses different yeast and also produce different beer. We'll see that in the following slide. First, we will see about the bottom fermentation. In this fermentation happens in lower temperature around 5 to 10 degrees Celsius. This fermentation process will happen slowly as well as produce the carbon dioxide very slowly. It will take around 10 to 14 days to complete the entire fermentation. After fermentation, the dead yeast cells are settled at the bottom of the tank. For this bottom fermentation, Saccharomyces carlsbergensis yeast used for fermentation. Lager beers are produced in this method. The second type of fermentation is top fermentation. It is directly opposite to the bottom fermentation. Saccharomyces cerevisiae yeast is used in this fermentation. It acts very vigorously with the liquid and produces the carbon dioxide very fast. This fermentation happens in warm temperature around 16 to 24 degrees Celsius. This process will take 3 to 5 days to complete. In this fermentation, the dead yeast cells are floating at the top of the barrel after completion. Ale beer are produced in this method. Any one of the above said method, young beer is produced and is moved to the next stage. The next stage is maturing. Young beer is allowed to mature for 3 to 4 weeks time, and then it is clarified with the help of clarifying agent like isinglass. This clarifying agent attract all the impurities and settle down at the bottom of the cask. And finally, the matured beer is added with more carbon dioxide and then bottled. Here are some of the varieties of beer. Beer is classified into two major categories. First one is ale. We already said it is the top fermented beer. It is further classified into many categories like porter, stout, etc. The second one is lager beer. It is the bottom fermented. Beer. It is further classified into pilsner, American lager, European lager, etc. Here are the major classification of beer. Thank you. If you have any queries, you can ask. Thank you once again.